For today's cup of coffee, we have an interesting legend that comes from North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Yeah, and that's,
Yeah.
parts of it's not that far from here.
Right.
And, it just depends on how close. But, we can be in parts of North Carolina within 30, 45 minutes.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so that's one thing about being here in southwestern Virginia. We're not that far from other states.
No.
So, we're pretty close to the interstate. We're not that isolated.
No. Not yet, at least. What?
I don't know what is going on with our backdrop stuff. It'll be all right. Stop sniffing the windscreen. Anyhow, we've got two articles, both of them
I
coming.
was trying to look at the viewfinder, but my nose was right there, so I was like, why not go with it?
Both coming from the same website, which is called North Carolina Ghost. And the links will be in the description box.
North Carolina.
And one of them is the Devil's Tramping Ground.
Which is a stomping ground.
And then the Scary Truth, the Devil's Tramping Ground. Yeah, around here, you can hear somebody about tramping around and you can take that two ways. But most of the time around here, you're going to...
You fucking lot lizards!
We're going to be talking...
Do people call them lot lizards anymore?
Oh, yeah, I think they do. But it would be stomping ground. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting how that different word usage as well as dialect and different things, it can change drastically within a few miles.
Yeah.
And people from North Carolina, there are certain things that they pronounce in a very distinctive way. One of the things I noticed, some of the ones that we were around as family members had married into people who were indigenous to North Carolina. Instead of saying furniture, they would say furniture.
What?
Furniture.
Furniture.
Instead of furniture.
Furniture. Okay.
Right. And it's just like as far as Tennessee, and, that they have a tendency to put a long I on things. So
Tennessee.
No, that's not how that goes. Tennessee. And I had cousins, and it's interesting when you're around different people how that shapes your own dialect. So it's interesting. And so we're going to start with the traditional legend with this. It says, in the low rolling hills of southern Chatham County, which is south of Siler City in the woods of near Harper's Crossroads.
Crossroads.
Yes.
Crossroads.
You know what? Let's just take two on that. In the low rolling hills of southern Chatham County, south of Siler City, in the woods near Harper's Crossroads, lies one of the most famous haunted places in North Carolina. The Devil's Tramping Ground is a mysterious, perfectly round and absolutely barren circle about 40 feet in diameter in the pine woods of Chatham County. Not a tree, not a flower, no lowly weed, not even a single blade of grass will grow in the limits of the circle. Seed sowed there refuses to sprout. Any vegetation transplanted there will wither and die. Perfect. What's even more strange, and any object left in the circle before dusk will have been violently moved outside its bounds by dawn. Dogs tuck their tails between their legs and whimper when brought near. The frightened animals will dig their heels into the sand, refusing to be brought into the circle. Men have tried to spend the night in the circle, but not one has succeeded and remained sane. Something they see on their vigils drives them out of their wits, never to recover. The Devil's Tramping Ground has earned its name. It's said that that is where the devil himself walks at night. In his tramping ground, the devil spends his nights pacing around and around in a circle and turning his bitter mind towards ways to bring human souls to damnation. It's the scorching heat of his cloven hoofprints that kills the vegetation and has rendered the soil barren. He angrily brushes aside anything left in his path, his great strength easily able to toss aside even the heaviest objects. When he walks in his private spot on earth, the devil drops the illusions with which he disguises himself when he appears to men. In his natural state, the face of this fallen angel is so horrible that no man can see it and remain sane.
So it's like that Bird Box type shit where you cannot look at it.
Well, it says that the classic version of the Devil's Tramping Ground story is the one you've just heard.
Yeah.
And that's the one, if you are a storyteller or if you're doing like a haint tour or something like that, that's the one you're going to tell.
For those of you who are not Southern, haint is just another term for ghost.
Yeah.
It's a Southern word.
Well, it's peculiar to this area also. I think it's a lot of places around here, but I had a friend who was a storyteller, and she did do tours of Abingdon, Virginia, and the areas and stuff. And,
oh, God.
Just a wonderful performer. And that was what she called it. It was her haint tour. And she, as far as knowing the history of those areas and stuff, I think that she had like a degree in English, but she had also done theater, and it was a hell of a tour. Great fun.
I would love to go on one of those ghost tours.
Right.
I may do that this
Well, you know, where you had the everything where the world turned more stupid a couple of years ago, everything was canceled. Who knows? You know, since they be a pox upon you and everything else these days. So
may a pox be upon you.
Yeah, that's an ancient curse. Somebody spoke that one again, didn't they?
Yeah.
Anyhow,
spoke it too many times.
It says other explanations have been given for the cause of this barren patch of woods over the years, including the story that the place was the site of a battle between two rival tribes of American Indians. Supposedly, the blood of those killed soaked the ground so thoroughly that nothing would ever grow there again. The losing tribe then fled from the mainland entirely onto the Outer Banks and became the Croatian tribe that befriended the lost colonists. Others say that the site is the burial ground of a great Indian chief named Croatian, I think is what it is.
Whatever.
And that the gods keep the spot barren out of respect. The idea has also been put forth that the soil in the Devil's Tramping Ground is barren because the circle was the site of a UFO landing, and the strange radiation from its extraterrestrial engines has permanently exterminated the grass.
Party.
Let's see, I probably would have been one telling that one. It says most recently, a sign was posted at the site renaming the Devil's Tramping Ground as the Chatham County Vortex and claiming that the site is the anchor of a Magdalene crystal column of energy. Magdalene energy is an idea that has emerged out of England in the past decade. I'll have to research on that one.
Party.
This theory proposes that the planet is surrounded by a web of divine Ma-ray, M-A-R-A-Y, Ma-ray, energy that has an expression of the divine feminine presence. I guess that's where you get the Ma part. Bundling this with earlier English translations.
Someone's just yelling, Ma!
You're really...
Ma!
English traditions, not translations.
Get in the house!
And y'all wonder why I screw this stuff up. Traditions of Jesus traveling to the British Isles at some point in his life, while also incorporating this into a mysticism based on Jungian psychology and feminist readings of Arthurian legend. That sounds like a clusterfuck. All that right there, that's clusterfuck.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on there, but what might be most interesting for the history of the Devil's Tramping Ground is in all of this that for the first time the spot is being associated with positive supernatural forces instead of negative ones.
Loves it.
Well, now, usually if you've got a positive something, it doesn't mean that the soil is barren. You know,
yeah.
that's counterproductive or counterintuitive. This sort of rereading is one of the things that makes the Devil's Tramping Ground such an interesting spot. It's an example of how once a place is identified as being supernatural or holy, that identification can persist even beyond the culture that created the original association. The idea of the sacred place persists even as what that sacredness means is reinterpreted as new cultures and new contexts move into the area. The original naming of the Devil's Tramping Ground is part of a deep American folk tradition. The devil seems to have come to Chatham County with the Scotch-Irish settlers who arrived in North Carolina during the 18th century, populating the course of the Cape Fear River. The Uwaries, I don't know what that is, and in here in the Appalachians. It says the settlers were mainly immigrants from Ulster and other counties along the border between England and Scotland, and the devil was very much part of the culture they brought along with them. And there's a little history here within this article that I'm going to omit right now. You can go back and read all that for yourself. It says that much of Southern American folklore and folk music owes its shape to the Scotch-Irish, and the devil was a central part of that story. The culture remains with us also in place names. For the Scotch-Irish, any strange or dangerous place would often be named for the devil. Well, why give him all the credit?
Yeah.
These names are all over North Carolina. Apart from the Devil's Tramping Ground, North Carolina has a Devil's Rock, a Devil's Courthouse, 7 Devils, Kill Devil Hills, Devil's Branch, Devil's Chimney, Devil's Nest, 4 Devil's Elbows, 2 Devil's Forks, a Devil's Knob, and even a Devil's Tater Patch. Yeah.
Do they not know that there are other, malevolent or whatever the fuck entities that claim to be the devil but aren't? I tried to cover the thing.
You've just made a weird. Guys, let them. That's just how they do. That's how they be. Leave them alone down there.
It's not incorrect.
That's their thing. That's their thing. Don't be micromanaging somebody else's state. We got enough people trying to do that anyhow. For whatever reason, this small, barren patch in the woods was at some point identified as being in some way supernatural. And as the cultural context around the spot has shifted, that idea has persisted even as the stories around it have changed. And it says most visitors going to the spot expecting to have a spectacular supernatural horror or ma-ray enlightening will find the spot slightly disappointing. The barrenness of the soil seems to be the result from the place being a naturally occurring salt lick, a phenomenon not at all uncommon in the pine forest of the Carolinas. The site has also shrunk significantly this century, its diameter now measuring around 20 feet. Originally they said 40. And the salt content of the soil seems to be naturally fading enough so that grass now grows freely in the circle. The chief thing keeping the clearing free of other vegetation is the constant tramping it receives, not from the devil, but from visitors and local kids who use the place as a party spot. Well, of course they would.
Yeah.
It also seems that the devil, the aliens, or whoever else was keeping the spot clean has moved on, as objects left in the circle invariably remain there. The site frequently abounds with empty Slim Jim wrappers and beer cans.
Sounds about accurate.
A rusted refrigerator sat in the circle for a number of years, which was eventually hauled away by human hands on the back of a very mundane truck.
Damn.
So I thought that was pretty cool in the fact that they included the myth, some of the origins of the myth, and then, unfortunately, the reality. Hey, at least the devil wouldn't leave Slim Jim wrappers laying about.
No.
And that has always been one of the humans frustrate me.
We're not getting political. We're not doing one of these people. We're not one of these people that are like, save the planet, but fucking don't litter.
That's not political. That's Gaia worship. But anyhow,
what?
When some Gaia, Earth worship. You've been around me this many years and you didn't know that term.
No, because there's a lot of shit you did not teach me as far as
you don't
because
pay
you
attention.
refused.
No, you didn't pay attention.
I'm asking about quite a few things and you're like, no.
You don't listen. Anyhow, what it is that you've got people that will go in there and they want to see these things and they tear shit up. Or they leave trash or something like that. And that is one of the reasons that, I can't remember if it was Male's Cave or something like that. Some of these other sites that they've closed them off to the public.
Yeah.
Because that people have a tendency to be stupid.
Mm-hmm. We're supposed to be caretakers of the world.
Yeah.
The earth.
Well, there's some people that they leave the care out and they're just takers.
Yeah.
But, it'd be interesting. But we have so many legends in this area that, and some of it is just a matter to spin a yarn. Right. That is a very ancient tradition, and it's just, who can be the biggest bullshitter?
Spinning yarn, southern term for telling a story.
Oh, that's over there in England and all that stuff. That's actually pub talk. It'd be pub talk. We just need to have pubs.
Spinning a yarn that is just so unimaginable.
Yeah,
everybody's looking at that person and be like, is this person for real?
Well, I mean, it's just those that are older, I want to say, y'all don't listen well because you weren't taught to listen. And I do say y'all because y'all listen to the talking heads in the little boxes for so long that, if you've got somebody actually speaking to you, that you don't listen, you don't focus. I don't know, maybe people need to go around with this little frame about their head and maybe y'all pay attention.
No.
Probably not.
It's difficult for us to listen sometimes, even to the people on the talking heads.
Well, that's because, and we did discuss this quite a few videos back about the neural pathways, and that there is science, scientific proof that is changing and has changed because of the technology. So you have learning to listen is a skill.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about just remaining silent, to truly listen.
No, yeah.
And it's not just y'all. There's a lot of people that are older that they never learned that skill. And that with the storytelling, you have to learn how to tell a story properly, but you've got to have an audience that's willing to listen. But as far as people wanting to go and see these things and this drive for the supernatural, because a lot of those things have been taken for people. So that leaves them with this yearning, with this hunger for that. Thus as far as the ghost hunting peoples that are doing that, which can be really dangerous, as we've discussed many times.
Oh, yeah.
The shows where people are able to share their experiences, that's valuable. That can actually be very healing to some people. That's why we encourage people to share their stories. And there's there's a bunch of other people that they're wanting people to share their stories.
That is true.
So, but as far as going to the actual sites and people going, no, you can't come and see this anymore. People denying that these things happen because they don't want somebody trespassing, bothering them 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning.
Rumors are going to happen no matter what, though.
Sure.
Like, they're going to be like, why did they stop people from going there? Why did they do this? Why did they do that?
Well, the rumors, no. That's the reason you have somebody like me that has absolutely no tact to say, y'all tore shit up, get off my land. That's pretty basic.
Jesus Christ. Jesus.
It's true. It is true.
Dear God. Hi, it's me. Help Mama be more tactful in her approach with some things.
Well, now, sometimes you need to just be plain spoken. And we have got a world where everybody's worried about somebody's little baby feelings and this and that and the other, and worried about offending somebody. There are some of us that just don't give a damn because we realize that is not that's not my responsibility. It is not. Now, if I intentionally offend someone,
your feelings are not my
that is something I can apologize for. Even if somebody got offended and I didn't, tell me about it. Because I'll either apologize or I'll take credit for it.
I don't know. I'm also one of these people that's like, someone's opinion is none of my business.
Yeah.
Just like the back of my head is none of my business.
Because somebody somewhere is going to be pissed off about something. That's their problem. Mm-hmm. And they used to tell people to grow a thicker skin.
Well, yeah.
Not to be so easily offended. And that has gone backwards, and that's not working too well right now.
No.
So when they come across somebody like me, they're like, she's a blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yes, damn. I have spent many years developing this.
It's like, damn.
It keeps people, it's, you know, it's a very small club that I have around me.
You, but sometimes I'm even like, damn.
Now, I'm not that brutal when I'm out in public. I'm really not. I just sort of stay away from people. I'm sort of quiet.
But it's on the rare occasion, and I'm like, oh, damn.
Well, it depends on the circumstance. I help old ladies in the store, all that stuff.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying anything about that.
And what's weird is because I look like one of these people that's rough, because I am one of those people that's rough. But they also are not afraid to approach me, and it's like, hey, will you hand? Absolutely, I'll hand you. I'll help you do whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just common courtesy.
Yes, but it's also one of those that if somebody's like, yeah, I'm going to hurt somebody, I'm like, oh, hell no, y'all kick your ass.
The fuck you say?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The hell you say?
Myths, legends, they're important. Mm-hmm. And even if it's sharing something, it is culture. It is culture. It's passing on, trying to teach those that are younger, if they're willing to listen, to get off their ass and put those damn boxes down for a minute.
I'm on the bike most of
the time. You are, because I have stayed on your ass for years.
You never told me to get the bike. No. I just had to do that myself.
But now I'm telling the truth.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, it's okay to sit here, and of course, those of us that make content, and to sit there and to connect with the people that are listening to us, watching whatever.
Well, see, I understand that I have like an internet addiction or a technology addiction, but that's one reason why I got the bike.
Yes, and that was a very positive step, and I'm very proud of you for that. But I mean, it's a matter of limitations on these things. And it wasn't, even before it was the internet and stuff, people that were hooked on TV or whatever.
Right.
That they would sit in the couch potatoing thing. Books still are a thing. Even on the internet, you can find those wonderful radio shows. You know, I'm a huge fan of the audiobooks that I can listen and do whatever. That's one of the reasons we do the podcast style with these videos.
You know a book series that I've been wanting to get into lately?
What's that?
Skullduggery.
I'm not familiar with that, and I'm going through I think I'm on the 3rd of the Dune series. With the audibles.
I still haven't finished the first Harry Potter book, and I'm ashamed to say that, but there's words I get stuck on because her vocabulary is up here and mine's still like at me.
But you know what?
Like middle.
If you get a dictionary.
I need a fucking thesaurus too.
Well, thesaurus is going to give you alternatives for words, but a dictionary is what you want as far as the meanings of words. Mm-hmm. And you might be able to find it, look it up. I know I honestly try to pronounce some of these things, not all things. I try to pronounce some of these things properly. And so there's some places on the internet that I can look up and try to pronounce them. Sometimes they pronounce them incorrectly also.
Christmas present. A dictionary and a thesaurus.
I think it's like 3 of them right in there on the wall of fuckery. Help yourself. Uh-huh.
Ooh.
Absolutely. I've gone through several in my time.
I may a commandeer.
You can read it and you can put it right back on the shelf. That's how that works.
Yeah.
So people are going, my God, they have gone all around the.
Well, that's the point of a podcast.
It is, but it's also the point that I didn't take the Stratera today.
You have a relative baseline of it. But you can go off on these tangents as long as you come back to the topic. We're done with the topic.
Well, yeah. North Carolina, I mean, Asheville is too bougie for me.
Myrtle Beach is not, though.
That is in South Carolina.
It's still a Carolina.
Oh, God.
It's still a Carolina.
Oh, I tried. Oh, God.
It's still a Carolina.
Oh.
It's the cousin.
anyhow, there's just all kinds of places that are like a day trip from us to go and see and explore. There's places that are about a day trip for wherever you are also. Go and do and explore.
Hell, this town that we live in can be a day trip.
Sure, it could be a day trip.
Because there's like, I went on some back roads and some roads that I have not been on before, and I'm like, I'm in the middle of nowhere.
Yes, but we still have GPSs. And it's like, you know, Dad used to say, are you still in the United States? Then you'll come out somewhere.
Well, that's why I, like, rely on landmarks.
Yeah.
So, as long as I recognize something on the way back, I'm like, I'm going the right place.
At some point, you will recognize something. So, it's all good. It is all good. If you all have had experiences with the paranormal, supernatural encounters with UFOs, aliens, cryptids, this is why we ask for local, regional, or family myths or legends. Day trips that you have enjoyed, things like that, to visit.
What did you do?
And that's why I would love to go over to someday to England and Scotland and Ireland, to the pubs, to just visit the pubs, because those are community gathering places that we desperately need in this area.
Not only that, they got a good goth scene over there in
Do
England.
they?
Yeah.
Okay. So, anyhow, if you would like to email us those things, cupofcoffeewithscream@gmail.com, and the email address is also going to be in the description box in case I screw it up or if you can't remember it. Because there's been days that I have totally just iced it up.
Yeah.
And it's been one of those weeks.
It's transparency. It's realism.
Oh, yeah, we're real. And some people are going, God, I wish they weren't.
God,
put a little bit of pretense.
Yeah.
So, know that you're loved. And Lord willing, we'll see you on the next cup.
Yes. And if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, comment, and most of all, subscribe and click that notification button for daily notifications of our daily uploads. I slurred or
it's all right.
Fumbled on the daily, but that's okay.
I'm going to blame the decongestant. That or the decongestant. If I'm not taking it out, I'm going to blame the cold. Yeah. One or the other. Yeah. We'll see you on the next cup. Bye.
Bye. I'm going to go ride my bike into Black Dog Holler.
All right, you do that.